In Call of Duty Black Ops 7 Zombies, we will be receiving this brand new mode called Curse Mode. What this is basically classic zombies, most similar to how Black Ops 3 Zombies would work. However, there are some slight changes. Even though you start with a pistol, have no minimap, and have the classic point system, there are unfortunately still some unsettling elements from modern zombies seeing a feature within this mode. In this video, I'm going to be voicing my concerns for the hardcore zombies mode coming into Black Ops 7. If you are new here and like these kinds of videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to see more. Now let's get into what I am worried about. Treyarch advertising this mode as being classic got fans, including myself, extremely excited to see a return to the old system we all know and fell in love with. The only problem is they were not telling the full story. One of the major problems with this mode is that there is still armor, even though that is nowhere to be seen in the classic zombies games. Here's a clip of what Treyarch's main excuses for having armor within the cursed mode.
Will there be a relic to remove armor in cursed? No. You really need armor to survive these high rounds. It's a harsh world out there. Without armor, you die pretty quickly. So we do have an augment for Vulture Aid that will automatically replay an armor piece for you when you pick it up. But also, there's golden armor, which you can get after you upgrade to 3 plates.
You're gonna need golden armor in Cursed. It's a really challenging mode. When you start stacking those relics at higher tiers, it's essential.
But this rubbed me and many other players the wrong way. Us as a community have been complaining about how bad the Warzone armor system is in modern zombies and how we never want to see it again and use another iteration of the game mode. But guess what? They still decided to include it and people are not very happy. Although there is golden armor, so in a way you don't have to refill it all the time, which I will admit is a nice feature, but you have to beat the main quest within the mode to unlock it, which is going to suck for some players who like the classic system and aren't great at the game. I do understand that this mode is meant for good players, so eventually the mode will filter out and probably be less played than the default mode, which is modern zombies. Which leads me into my next point that Treyarch loves to do, which pisses me and many others off. If it isn't played the most, they will just stop caring and catering for it to be involved in future and potentially current games that they develop. This point is supported by multiple pieces of evidence, such as Vanguard Zombies. The reason Vanguard Zombies was a thing, and I shit you not, is because on Cold War, the map Outbreak was the most played map, which happened to be an open world objective map. So, Treyarch being Treyarch, they decided to make that the main mode and focus of Vanguard Zombies. And as all of us know, Vanguard Zombies fucking sucks. Now this isn't the only time they have done something like this. No, they're doing it all again. Liberty Falls was actually the most played map by a wide margin, mostly due to the camel grinders, and they were trying to make maps more like that and have it be a main focus of their designs. I don't know whether that is what led them to make the tomb the way it was, but it would make a lot of sense why that map is structured how it is. They did also say that that map was made to be like Liberty Falls, even though at the end of Citadel de Mor, they advertised it as Origins 2, which kinda killed the mode off, I can't lie. Although they are going to make a separate series of maps called Survival Maps, which is what Liberty Falls is, and they're going to make them separate from the main one, so I think that they actually learned for once, which is really good. Anyways, my point is, if they look at the data and see that the regular mode is more played than the alternative cursed mode, instead of trying to improve on it, they will just get rid of it, which is so fucking lazy and dumb, because imagine if they did this based on their multiplayers too. After Infinite Warfare, this franchise would probably cease to exist. I really hope this doesn't happen, and it might not, but this is one of my big concerns to the mode, just due to the fact that the thought of that always being there in the back of my head. Another worry I have is that it isn't going to feel like a different mode. And what I mean by this is backing off what I had just stated a couple minutes ago. Although there are no rarities, thank God, there is still the level 3 Pack-a-Punch, which is mind-numbingly stupid. Just make Pack-a-Punch 5,000 points again, and instead of giving it level 1 damage, just give it level 3 damage immediately and have it be the default damage base. It really is not that difficult to do something like that, I wouldn't think, and it would also make it more separate and quote-unquote original compared to the default mode, while adding the classic feeling back to zombies, which is what we all want and what the mode is actually intended for. You can also fix the armor system by making it so when you buy Jug, you get some damage mitigation along with it, or something simple like that. Make Jug feel like Jug again, instead of just something you can get on round 15 and it doesn't feel important like it used to. What I mean by this is back in World at War and up to Black Ops 3, you would race to get Jug because it was so vital to survive back then due to the low health by default. Literally, in Shadows of Evil, you would open the doors based on where the perks were because they were so important. And since they randomized the locations, it made each game you played on that map more unique and special. Now you have armor immediately, and it kind of just brings down the importance within the perk and makes it kind of forgettable instead of something that everyone knows and loves. However, there is a 4 perk limit within the mode, so maybe we will end up seeing something like that return while playing, or at least, we can hope so. Which I do have to admit I like, because it actually does put a limit on the player instead of making them a literal fucking god. It gets boring having everything in the game and being able to just sit in one spot holding the same button over and over. It wasn't even fun, and it still isn't. Hopefully with this change, it can actually force us to start training and using evasion more often, like how we had to do in BO3 and BO2 when trying to go for some high rounds. I have no idea if there are still score streaks, and I really hope that there aren't, because that would just completely exonerate everything I just said. The last worry I have is about the relic system. Now, if you don't know what the relic system is, it's basically a system where you can find things and do things in the game and get upgrades to you and your team while playing the maps. We really have no clue how this works, which is, good, and I actually prefer that because it's a lot more fun finding things out when the game launches and having it be an experience instead of just looking at the screen and having no shock or awe whatsoever. The reason why I bring up the worry is due to the sheer fact that it might be kind of ass. We have no clue if it's easy to find these relics or if it's extremely difficult or how to obtain them in the first place. Kevin Drew did say this, however.
What you're doing in there is you're trying to find these relics, and each relic is this additional difficulty modifier. So you find that, you unlock it permanently, and you can activate relics and make the mode even harder, but by doing so, you'll also unlock additional rewards. And the first reward is, once you hit kind of tier 1, is golden armor now becomes available in Cursed as a wall buy.
So maybe it won't be too bad based on the rewards you get as long as they are in-game. This kind of reminds me of the talisman system back in Black Ops 4 Zombies, where you can equip different ones and get a different type of advantage depending on what you picked. For example, one of them lets you start the game with a random LMG, and another lets you get certain perks for half the price and things like that. I'm only worried just because we know nothing about it, and I will admit this is a little nitpicky of me to do, but then again, it's Activision and Call of Duty, so you can never be too certain or uncertain about literally anything. Onto some of the positives, which I have seldomly mentioned. The biggest positive is no loadouts. I love how we are forced to start with a pistol, just like when I was 9 scared shitless to do anything within the map, including just moving my character. Loadouts for me have ruined the feeling of progression in zombies, and it doesn't feel good to get the rarity up on the same weapon I have been using for the past half hour to an hour long. They did say they nerfed loadout weapons in this game and decreased salvage rates to upgrade them, which is whatever, because I'm sure most people are just going to use them and upgrade them anyway, just like last year. The reason for doing this is for more box hits, which if you wanted more box hits, just get rid of starting with an overpowered weapon in the first place. Anyway, I do think that the box will be a key piece in Curse due to no rarity in starting with pistols, so it'll definitely have the feeling of progression. Because in modern zombies, like I said, if you start with something overpowered, it doesn't feel nearly as good. Back then, in the classic system, when you had to hit the box, get a random weapon, honestly, there's nothing left that I can think off the top of my head, so that is going to end the video here. If you guys feel anything different or similar, make sure to leave it in the comments and what you would like to see Call of Duty do next. And I'll see you next time. It's been Breaking Bagels.